What is up, guys? Welcome to another stream. This one is going to be a decent, chill one. I'm pretty much just going to go over Apex and stuff like that, and yeah, pretty much how I can. I'm going to make this bias builder live for you guys. Okay, so killed two birds with one stone sort of vibe. Yeah, so let's get into this. This should be fun. So this is the main chart that most of you guys already know that I use. It's pretty easy. Once you get the hang of how to do these sort of chart layouts, it's pretty simple. But we also have ones on trading view. So either way, depending on what you trade and so on, you should be okay. If you're joining the group and stuff like that, you shouldn't really have a problem with figuring out what to do, when to do, how to trade, what to trade, and all that good stuff. So, and we already got Daniel in the chat. How is it going, Daniel? It's all good. I'm just gonna create a bias builder template, so the same one that's on trading view. I'm gonna create that one. So yeah, it's going. But yeah, other than that, just taking it easy. If I see any trades, I'll probably take them as well. But I'm definitely not so focusing on that, So let's try to get this ready. So clean this. Get this moved over here. The lag is pretty bad. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with my if I take which hard trader. So the lag's pretty insane at the moment. So hopefully it kind of takes it easy and chills out. But yeah. So pretty much I'm just getting everything added. See, a thing that I like as well on Addis is that you can actually you can change up quite a bit on Addis when it comes to the profiles and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I enjoy. Changes the candles. It's a lot smoother. So we change all these the candles realistically, because they're all going to be profiles anyway. But what I'm going to do is change the indicator and see if it has template, so this could probably speed this up a little bit. There was a really nice trade earlier using the depth of market. It's really super clean. It could have been way up here actually. It could have been, no, it wouldn't have been actually, but it was a really nice short, that's for sure. This is usually my weekly. Value area. this up. Evaluate color. Yeah, it's pretty solid picture. Very solid. So I'm gonna go out of here first and then change this to the 4R for the weekly. We'll probably change this as well, there's just candles. So that's one thing about TradingView, is that they're super user friendly, so like pretty much anyone can figure out all the little bits and pieces within TradingView, compared to something like Addis, where it's like really there's a bit of a learning curve behind it. At least in my opinion anyway, there's a bit of a learning curve when it comes to Addis, that's for sure. But once you've learned something like Addis, it's just super clean, and you can really get into, you know, some nice trading territory. So we are looking for these daily lines. I suppose actually, you know what I'll do first is I'll edit this profile first and set this. So here's another really cool trick that I like, is I actually set the scale, and instead of 1, you could scale it by 50 and then scale by lower as well. And what that'll do is it'll change the profile. So you can see here these lines are super chunky, so we'll have to go maybe something like 10. You know what? For some reason, there we go. So we'll try to 10, see what it looks like. Yeah, see, 10, the 10's a wee bit cleaner. Right, so you can see the profile just changes up. And I kind of like that average instead of pinpointed. That's like a little tip for you guys. Is if you set it to more of an average, then you'll get like a little bit better. The point of control won't be so, you know, it could be very, well, one guy could have like just traded a huge amount, whereas if you have like an average, sort of like aggregated over a wee bit of time, then it's a little bit cleaner for those support resistance flips. Obviously you're not going to get a perfect entry, but what you will get is a nice place. What we're looking for is not these sort of like pinpoint perfect entries anyway. You know, perfect entry to me, by the way, is literally at the tick. I'm not talking about like, you know, crazy entries, but you know, if we get like that sort of, just like something like this where we get a little bit of a rejection, you're still finding time in here anyway to do your analysis and figure out whether you want to stay in that trade or not. So that's another reason why I like that sort of trading aspect of that. So there is that, right? Is getting them a nice bit of entries and stuff like that. So what I would like to do is change. Well, what we can do first of all is get the indicators off this chart and try to, so we'll get stacked imbalances off this and we'll mark a profile. Let's just add this to the chart. Keep it at the daily, leave all the settings the same for now, and we'll just see what we're working with. So if we change this chart to the 1 hour, and then this one we could also change to the 4 hour, it'll still look clean, I think. Scale, put this to 5, and we'll apply this and see what it looks like. Yeah, so that's clean. Might be worth changing the candles as well, but we'll see. what we can do is just looking into the indicators. So what we're just looking for is these daily, weekly, and monthly areas. So you can see here we're coming into yesterday's value as well. But this happened, and I was actually going over that in the bias builder itself, is that we came into yesterday's value, but we were approaching this area right over around here, which was pretty key. So you can see right here, that's what that weekly trade, that was a really nice short from here. That was a perfect top of that POC, and then just dropped right off, which was really nice. So what we'll do is we'll change this to monthly, apply, change this to 4 hour, and then what we can do is scale this to 10 ticks as well, and we'll see what we come up with. Could have to be 20 ticks. Yeah, 20 is going to be a little bit better for me, I think. Let's see. But you already know, guys, if you have any questions, stick them in the comments, because I will get back to you ASAP. If you need help setting up charts or anything, let me know. Plus, obviously, we have 80% off with Fosterman's on Addis, or not Addis, Apex. So you can also get that, which is really nice if you're picking up some prop firm accounts. I think they have a promotion going on at the moment, so that's why it's like 80%, but we'll see. Because that monthly is pretty nice. If we could set this to auto, and we'll change this to 365, I think. It could be a little bit too crazy. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll set this to the daily chart. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I'm going to prefer that a lot more. So just set that on the daily chart, I think. And then we can change around a couple things. So what we would want is... Okay, so that's actually... That's decent. And then we can change this as well after. But I think what I'm going to do is have these three charts, daily, weekly, monthly. I'll put sessions below, and then I'll have this as like some form of like checking out like market sentiment and stuff, see where buyers are getting and sellers are getting and stuff like that. But I think that's chill. I think that's chill so far for the profiles. So what we'll do is we'll go into indicators, and then I'll edit the monthly one, and then I'll just save this template. All I have to do is change it from daily to weekly or whatever. So it's pretty easy. You can also change these like TPO, and then you can do like market profile and TPO. So if you do market profile TPO, you'll see it changes that. So you can also add like the time price opportunity, but in my opinion, like I just use volume profiles. This, you know, that's where you're getting the best trades, I think. But TPO is pretty good just for getting that, like you can also get a pretty nice daily bias off that. So extend. So what you want is extend the first touch, so that'll bring out those naked ones, naked points of control, and then we could change this to monthly POC. We could also higher the TPO stuff, so that'll be cleaner. You can also turn on initial balance, which is decent, but we don't really need that for now. You can also turn on a candle, which is nice. I like that, you know, so you can see those monthly candles and see what we're looking like. But again, you know, to keep it as clean as possible, I'm going to try to take all that sort of stuff off. But it's not bad. Grid, we don't need that. Cumulative values, we'll turn this off. So that's just hiding those. So if you look here, if I just turn on bottom right again, you'll see here 2 million lots, 3 million lots. And lots just means contracts in the term of this. If you're trading futures and stuff like that. Filters, I don't think we need any filters enabled. And then hotkeys, we could just leave it like that. So this is what we got so far. So let's see how to portion. We could cut that on. Maybe we can take that off actually. We can do the value areas. So yeah, so let's mark this as monthly value area, monthly value area. We want the text to be dark. Same with the text up here. Change this to dark. So that'll be all nice. But is there a way to scale? Because that can get a little bit messy. I suppose we don't actually need the value area highs and lows on, because that's just like, I'm kind of okay with that not being on. So that's not too bad, right? It's having those monthly value areas off. Color, we could just keep them the same. But what I'm going to do is change the color to a nice blue. Right, we'll change the point of control line to blue. And we could, in fact, change the text as well to blue. That could be nice. That could actually be really nice. Okay. You can show value, so if I you can see here, it shows the amount of contracts at that point of control, which is also nice. It's kind of like a cool feature, to be honest, but it's just like, for what you really need it. I don't think it's that crazy. So let's see if we bars. You got bars on. You got gradient. I think the gradient is going to be a little bit nicer. Border. No, definitely not. Definitely not. I suppose we could go and change it to bars. I don't know how I feel about that though. Area color, so that's just going to change the whole entire area. Like that is crazy, so you don't want that on. Just keep that transparent. Extend lines. So you want that. But you do want profile maximum turned on. So it actually turns that off. Labels of finish lines. See, that's just crazy. That's just crazy, man. Okay, so that's apply. What we can do is just go to indicators. Click here. This is template. Why is it not letting me see this template? What we can do, just work around, would be just go to templates, settings, add, and just call this monthly profiles. So what you can do is just go to monthly profile, and then change this from here. And then go to templates. So if you guys want these templates, just send it into the Discord, and I will beam it over your way. Okay, so there we go. On these templates now. So what we can do is change this over now. Go to templates for the indicators. And we just click on here. Possible to send the workspace? Yeah, I'll send it for the whole entire workspace. Once it's finished, obviously. But yeah, I'll send it over. The control line. So if we actually go over here, I'll just press apply really quick. We go into here, and then we go to this bias builder template on TradingView. You'll see like the difference. So what I'm thinking of adding is another chart here just for the sessions. So we only have 3 on one side. Change this over to the sessions right below. I think it'll look a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit like smushed together right now with these daily profiles and stuff. But all I really need to do is add these lines and then change up. And pretty much just change up a little couple things here and there. So I think there is definitely a way on Addis where we can change the value area color, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. So what we can do is just change this. I think we leave this one to blue. I kind of want it the same colors though, so I could just copy that code. Yeah, so what we'll do is change this to the daily profile. We'll change this to the weekly profile, sorry. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, on TradingView, I would have had this done already. Like, Addis is just so customizable, so you really have to go in there and customize it all, which is not a bad thing, by the way. It's a good thing. So what we're going to do is change this to the weekly. Change this to the weekly point of control, the weekly value area high, and then the weekly value area low. Apply. So there we go. So now you can just see instantly like where all the naked points of control are. So you can load them in as we're going as well, which is, you know, depends. If you're on a virtual machine like me, I think it's probably best to load them in after. But I have like a million tabs open, so that's probably the lot. So what we can do then is just go over here, go to templates, settings. What we can do is turn on monthly. So let's see what we can get here. Right. So this is going to load in not a lot of data. Yeah, 7 days. So we're going to change this to at least. Could change it to 28 and see what we come up with. And then what we can do is just go to settings. So that's the thing as well, is like if we go to indicators, that's the other thing, is that you can also, instead of just having these profiles like this, you can manually mark them out. So instead of like putting all these profiles, you can just set the candles as profiles themselves. So that's not a bad, we could actually do it like that. Okay, I might do that. I'll change this to the daily, and then what I'll do is I'll put these candles to the daily. Let me check it out first. So each candle is going to be on the daily profile, you can see here. So you can also do it like that. And then you could... Ooh, okay. So what I'm thinking is I'll change this to... you could change it to transparent candles and it would just turn off the thing. But you could also just change it to clusters. Right? And then what you can do is just go to settings. And for the indicator. Okay, I'm going to do it like this. I think this will look way nicer. I'm already starting to think it'll look nicer. Let me just see. So we need pink, purple, and so we have pink, blue. We don't have purple. But if we change this to pink, okay, and then press close. What we can do is go to settings or indicator settings. And then we can go to profile color and turn it to transparent. Yeah, I think I like that already. And then it still gives us those daily candles. Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to do that. And then point and control line. So we'll more colors. Change this to the sort of pink. We'll copy this. Press OK. Change this. More colors. Paste that in. Press OK. Do I like the text pink? I think I do, actually. I'm going to change the profile value color. Change this to pink. Okay, and press apply. So that is going to be the text. And obviously if you zoom in, right, so I'll have to change up the proportions and stuff, but I think having those sort of candles about is kind of cool as well. Go to settings and we'll see what we can tweak. But yeah, I'm heading to Malaysia in 4 days, so that'll be fun. That'll be nice. Proportions, but keep that as bar, because if you don't put this to bar and you go like whole chart, you can see here it's changes it up a bit. Keep visible region as well. This was not bad, but it's just not great, is it? Go to visual settings. Bars. So what we can do is put something like that. Also change up this one and put something like that. Will that work? So we'll just make it that little bit cleaner, I think. Candle borders. Do you want to draw borders? No. So mainly just trying to figure out how to make this a little bit cleaner, because it's looking crazy at the moment. volume values. Let me turn them off. So for the cluster, I want to turn off these volume values. Unless it's color scheme. I think what I'll do is, you can see here, it just adds all them up. So if I go scale and I scale by 10, we'll see what this looks like. So let me figure out. It must be the indicator. Text, grid. Yeah, this is off. If I go to the bottom right, I hide. Yeah, it was just a bug. It was just a little bit buggy, but yeah. Yeah, I thought I turned it off. That's why I was wondering. I was like, what the heck? Okay, so now we have all these points of control. What I'm going to do is turn off the text, because I already know text color, because I already know what it is, right? Most of you guys already know what it is as well, so you don't really need to worry about that. Yeah, I think that's good. So just go to settings, templates, and we'll save this as a template. Let's call this profiles. I think I like that a little bit better, to be honest. And go to templates again. We'll start this and we'll press load. What we can do is change this to the weekly. Okay, and then we go to indicators. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I think that's a little bit nicer in my opinion. Well, we'll see. It's still not as nice as what you can do, but I'm going to definitely clean it up this weekend for sure. I just want to get it all kind of set up and nice for Monday. So let's change this profile to the weekly profile. Yep. And we can. Okay, we'll press apply. That's what we'll do. Right, let me think about this. I'll change the cluster settings real quick. change these values in here, the indicator and the indicator. So you see it actually is saying that we didn't hit that, which is crazy because I know we did. So we'll have to figure out how to fix that. That shouldn't be too hard. So we'll change this to blue. Change these to blue. Okay. And let's see if the scale, if we change this to 20 and turn off scale by lower value, so we'll see what we get. Okay, let's put on scale. Let's see if we turn this to 5, what happens? Apply. So that's weird. Okay. We'll try. We'll put this back to 20. Keep the scale by lower values on. We'll see what we can get. So we'll see what you can get. So what we can do is just Right, let me try to figure out which way to approach this now. What do you think about this? I am stumped. Look at that. I am stumped. What happens if we put this to like 4R? Yeah, you see on the 4R we actually hit it and reversed. Am I missing something? So you might have to scale this down. Yeah, because on the weekly it's not doing what we need to do. So we might actually have to go back to what we were thinking about originally, which was this instead of the clusters. Because we did, like you could already see that it's like it's removing that naked point of control right over here. So there is that. Let me just put this back to candles. We could probably set the bars. And then from there. I think bar's probably going to be like everyone's favorite. It's not mine. I think I prefer the candles. But if we go candles, and then just go indicators, and then change it from there, I think that could be pretty nice. So let's turn back on profile. Turn off the gradient. Might have to sit on that one. But what I will do is just go from here. So we'll just do that. And then we'll just set this back to the 1 hour. So now change this to candles again. And then go to indicators. Okay, so I'll work it like this for now until I've got a workaround. I'll have to play around with it, but I kind of want to get this finished ASAP. I think I literally have been sitting here for 43 minutes just fixing profiles. This is horrendous. Okay, so turn this on. I still have that color saved. Let's hope. Yep. Okay, we can turn off gradient. And then we can lower this down. And then change this to solid. Or solid or bars. I think we're gonna leave it. I don't know. I think I'm gonna actually put on bars. I think bars looks a little bit nicer. And then I could always work around it, like I said. Okay, and this is gonna be the daily profile. And then we got the weekly down here. So click settings. What I will do actually is I will go to templates, settings, profile, save, and overwrite, yes. And then what I will do is just go over here, go to templates, profile. Because then the chart colors are going to be the same as well, like those back handles. And then go into indicators, and then change this to the monthly. Oh no. Okay. Let me turn this to this. Right, that should be that fixed. So the indicators. Change this to the month. Change this color to purple. So that should be clean. That should be clean. And if I put this down, transparency down a bit. I don't really like that. It's a weird color, purple. I think I like that a little bit more. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's change this point control line. Oh, so see, it adds the recent colors down there, but for some reason it just didn't add my recent color. There. And then we'll change the Where's the value colors? Okay, so it's looking similar. It's not identical, but it's definitely looking similar, that's for sure. And you can see here that the profiles are actually being respected. Okay. So because it's so customizable, there's so many different things you can do. And it's just it's choosing what you want, you know, what looks good and stuff like that. So I would like to change the outside of the value area opacity or opacity or whatever. You know. What I think I will do though is I will turn off Chart Trader, and then I will clone window. Okay, so far we got all the weekly, daily, and monthly points of control, which is good. And then what we can do is set up this like that. Put the sessions down here. And then up here, what I'm going to do is change this to the clusters, and then change the clusters. So if we go to settings, and then we're starting to get here. And then we'll change this to the 4R or the 1R. I think I'll see. What we're going to do is color scheme, heat map by volume, and then volume profile. We can change this heat map to the usual, and then we can do the up cutoff, put that all the way down, and change the contrast all the way down. So the more you can actually just find those high volume nodes just by leaving the contrast about halfway or something like that. And that's pretty easy to spot. You can even go all the way up here and just see the point of controls, you know. But if you turn it all the way over, you'll see everything. I think I like that though. I think I like that one at the top. Obviously we could do orange as well, something like that, but I think I'm going to keep it as the darker shaded areas. But yeah, we can also add an additional footprint just to see what volume's doing, I think, or deltas are. So we can do that. So we could do delta. We could do delta profile. And then we could do delta. We could actually do heat map by delta, and then change the heat map. So if we just go back up, change that heat map to something like this. It's a little bit too dark. I actually might go for something like this. Oh no, not that. Something like this one. Yeah. Have an upper cutoff limit right down. Keep it at bar. So there, now we've got volume profile and a delta profile. Right, and then what we can do is change this to, we'll try it with the 1R and then we'll scale it. you're definitely going to want to scale these because, yeah, if you don't, it looks just crazy. Which a lot of people still like it like this because then you can see exactly pinpoint which price and stuff. But, you know, if you just change it to something like 10, I think that is, whoa, 10 is very ugly. So maybe 5. Maybe something like 5. So each row is going to be 5 ticks. So if you look at the price scale over here, you can see it's 5 ticks per thing. So that doesn't really bother us because this is not the chart we're trading from, so it doesn't really matter. It only matters for the profiles, in my opinion. But yeah, something like that. You know, and that gives us that sort of. So I'll have to play around with it and stuff, but as a good base, I think this is decent so far. Let me think. So what we can do is turn on these daily levels over here. So just go to indicators and turn on, get these daily levels loaded in. Daily lines. Okay. So line. We want current day. Color, we can change this to pink or black. I think black will be. Add this to chart. Daily lines. Yeah, we'll have to change the text. So text, so we just do daily open, just the standard what we always do. Change this to one solid line. And we could do solid. Okay. Give a second. Text size, we can change this to, let's say 2. 5, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 is the minimum. That's the name that they don't let you go lower, but it's whatever. We can change this color. Change that to black. So there's the daily open. Yeah, current day. So we do current day levels first. So you can see it's definitely a little bit tedious, that's for sure. Getting all this done. So I don't blame you guys for wanting the we'll go black again. So we're just trying to make this as clean as possible, which we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Daily high, change to black, change to 1. Okay, press apply. Okay, so you see right now we're actually already printing those highs, so this will update in real time, which is nice. And then obviously the close hasn't happened yet. Alright. I'm trying to think what else. I want to remove these session lines. So I think that's in visual settings. Just type in line. Grid, new session line. Let me change it. Yeah, there we go. just change this to transparent. There we go. Okay. So we have got daily lows, daily open, daily high, and we got those naked points of control. Plus we have these value areas. Okay, so we can see like instantly. Isn't that crazy that the most amount of volume came in around that value area low? So seeing things like that as well is something that you want to keep an eye on. Is like when you see a lot of volume coming in around those key levels, keep an eye on that. You know, seeing those like volume, is it accepting it? What's going on here? Like who's winning? So if I just go into here and click mouse and then global crosshair, and then change this to also global crosshair. Okay, you'll see right here. Okay, just around this area is where there was that, and then just instantly, like, you're seeing positive delta. So this is another reason why it's kind of good to have the two profiles on, especially for something like this. Like when you're looking for acceptance and stuff, like above those levels. So how to spot that would be like if we were getting all of this buying and nothing, like buyers coming in at that level already, showing us aggression, and then you're seeing sellers not really stepping in, right? Like you're seeing some, okay, like right here, but those sellers got bought right back up. You could also check on other, like there's other things you could look at, like the depth of market and stuff. Heat map and seeing if there was like a lot of buy limits around here. And then you could spot absorption using other tools, like, you know, the easiest way in my opinion to spot absorption was just CBD. But you can spot it in other ways, like right here, you know, when you're seeing a bunch of sellers coming in and nothing happening, that's someone absorbing. You know, you can mix these tools with each other, right, and find a good workflow where it like kind of makes sense. But, you know, so far what we've got is decent. I'm not gonna lie, definitely be better, so I'm gonna make it as clean as possible, because what we're looking for is something as close as possible to this chart. Okay. You know, you can see here we got the weekly levels and stuff like that. It's really clean. It is really clean. And you can see that, like, you know, the points of control and stuff like that, they're all going to be relatively the same. You know, like there's one right down here at what price is this coming in at? This is coming in at 3346 psychological. So if we go back over here and we see the weekly chart, and we see this is coming at 3344 psychological. Okay, so there is scaling issues as well. Like if you look at the scale, so this is a 2 point difference, 2 points difference. But if you just honestly, because we've got it scaled at 20, okay, you can see here's 20. So it would, if we just like scale this up, right here at the top of this is actually 3346 psychological. So, you know, that's something you have to be in tune with, right? Is like having that as an area. I think if we scale by lower level, if we turn this off, let's see. Yeah, still gonna be the same. So you don't have to turn scale on, I'm not gonna lie. These guys can turn scale off if that's something that you would rather. For me, it's not an issue. But for some reason, Addis doesn't let you change the scale on the profiles, only on the actual chart itself. So you have to change the whole entire chart scale. You can't just change the scale of the profiles, which is a bit of a bummer, you know. But it's fine. It's not really a big deal. So let's see what we're looking for now. So what I have to do is add the sessions down here. We got to add these lines up here. So what we can do is just go up here, add these lines. Visuals, indicator. But yeah, this is mainly I'll trade with, I could trade on either. So I could trade on TradingView or Addis. But I want to try to make the switch to Addis full time instead of just like, you know, kind of beating around the bush. But is there a way you could duplicate this? So We'll just probably have to add another daily lines on the chart. Last day, so we don't want open. So I don't really care about the open for the previous day. What I do more care about though is, and I don't care about the close for the previous day. I'm sure you guys can probably figure out why. But we'll change this transparent. And then we just want the highs and the lows. Change this to black. Change this to 1. Change this to previous day high. Okay, change this to 5. Starts to look a little bit cleaner. Change the line again. Change this to 1. Change this to daily low, or previous day low. Change this to black. Press apply. So there's a lot of things, okay? Like there's a little, little nuancey things about Addis. Like if you look over here, like you can see we actually go from the weekly low, so at the start of the week, and then on from there onwards. So that is kind of why I like it. But we'll come up to this previous week low now. So we just click back in here. Daily high. Oh, weekly. I was checking weekly, but you can see like the little nuancy things, as in like the lines will scale all the way back to here. So it would be nice if they could turn that, as an option where it like starts from the beginning. But let's see if we could hold this area. I'm gonna be looking at that anyway. If we go profile. So this is the sort of area we're looking at, because we got the rally base rally. So seeing how we react to this value area high, or this volume POC, this range POC, that's going to be key for sure. Let me delete this. But I'll have to mess around with those settings as well. But I'm pretty sure I can send this in now. So for the layout settings, can we export? So that's the thing, you can't export layouts, which is kind of annoying. But I can export the whole entire workspace. So I'll send the workspace over. But so far, not bad at all. I'm definitely gonna have to tweak around with this to get it somewhere where I actually like you see over here, these the values on this aren't showing, so we'll have to change the values. Maybe take away all the values and then just mark it out, and then see how we approach them sort of areas. But I do have in mind like kind of what I'm looking for. Over here as well, turn on something like maybe like a bar statistics, or even call what do you call it, cluster statistics. And then you can delta session, delta volume. We do height if you want. Tree count's pretty nice. Could add this. See what we're rolling with. Apply. So I'll have to tweak around with these colors and stuff. So you can't actually move these, which is nice. I thought I turned off session delta. Okay. But yeah, something like that. I'm not gonna add it just yet because I don't wanna be crazy. But could turn on height and then volume in a second. So let's apply this. So this will actually, if we change this to auto, you can see the candle height is going to change here. So it really does depend on what you're kind of looking for. It is such a shame that they don't allow you to scale with just the profiles, because I wouldn't really care at that point. But we'll figure this out. You see here on this one, there's a lot of negative delta coming in and it just absorbed completely. So that's another thing. Like, this is also really good because you don't have to, like, you can turn on values, and then I'm pretty sure you can turn on the values like above or below the candles, and then you can see just based off that. But you can also have just something like this, so where you can instantly see, like, okay, we're getting a lot of selling delta coming in and nothing is happening, you know. Then you can also like compare and stuff. Like right over here, there was a lot of negative delta. Nothing happened at all. There was more negative delta in this bar. You know what I'm saying? So things like that. And then obviously if you pair that with your key levels, high volume nodes. So like if we just go something like this, you know, this was a pretty high volume node. You know, so coming into this area with a lot of negative delta and just getting bought right back up. You know, and then you can start looking for your entry. So you could probably enter off, you know, another high volume node like something like this, you know, or this one down here. You could probably average in and then just hold on to that, you know. This probably would have been the best entry right here, just because of that. But yeah, that's probably the main reason why I would want that over, because you can just see it like straight away. Like I said before, you just glance. That's, you know, you make the most money like just glancing, and then hyper focus once you start seeing what you want to see, you know. Internal scale by lower level. So again, you know, you can see this here. This could have been your entry right here. This one right here could have been your entry as well. You know, a lot of volume. This is the second highest volume node. So there's quite a few areas where you could have entered. And then what are you getting out of that? You know, if you're entering, say something like this, you know, 160 bucks per lot, per contract. That's not bad, like, for a quick scalp. Quick as in like 2 hours. But you can get better ones, like, you know. We're definitely going to have to figure out what to do with this Addis template, that's for sure. Because I'm kind of liking it, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of liking it just for like the customability and stuff, you know. And then obviously being able to trade on these accounts, and then like say you could buy 20 Apex accounts with the code Falstermans, and then you could add them all to your Addis template. So you could add it to this, and then you could just analyze on here, and when you're taking the trade, it'll just copy trade them all, which is like crazy. You know, a lot of prop firms don't offer that at the moment. So that's another good reason to go with Apex, in my opinion. And they're cheap. They're really super duper cheap. I think it's like, what is it, like $35 for 50K. You know, obviously you have to pay the activation, right? But $35 times 20, that's $750 odd dollars. You know, $750 to get 20 accounts and then to activate them all. You know, it's not bad, like. But you could be looking at like 3K, 3K all in, and then, you know, if you look for about, you know, a point or two a day, you know, you take 2 points out of the market, that's $200 times 20. You know, that's 4K. So if you were to take 2 points out in the first day, that's It's a lot of money. So that's why, that's another reason I would go for Apex. Just because you can scale and you can really work with it, like. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do the sessions and stuff like that. Get them wrapped up. But what we got so far is a decent base. I think I'll have this done by. I'll have it all finished, like all the templates, everything done by Monday. But I'm just super busy at the moment with traveling and stuff like that, packing up. I have to go actually and get a bunch of bags and stuff like that. So it's going to be fun for the next couple of days. But I'm excited to go to Malaysia. I've never been, so it'll be fun heading there. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for sure, go there. You guys already know, if you have any questions, go to the Discord and ask away. I think that's the best place to get me on, is the Discord. Simply because of, it's easy to go on the Discord and just text away. So I think I will end it here, guys. It's just going to be a short one, but I've pretty much got the basics done on this template. Now it's just going to round it off, finish it off, and then I will get it sent in to you guys. So if you enjoyed this stream, let me know. Like and subscribe, that's for sure. It definitely helps the algorithm out. And then, of course, if you want to see more of this sort of content, join up. We go live every single day. And then you can also join the Discord and get me over there. So I will see you guys in the next one. And peace out.